I'm Genny Williams, and welcome to 60 Minutes to Six Figures, our online interview. Today I am extremely excited because you know how passionate I am about helping small business owners do amazing things. And we have a summit for you today just to help you implement things into your business to help you run your small business better and more smoothly. So I've got an expert panel for you today for you to meet, and everyone's going to be providing you some good tips today that you can take away and implement immediately. Before we get started, let's make sure that we get to meet everyone on the panel. My friend Glyna Humm. Glyna, welcome.
Hi, Genny. How are you today?
Hi, Glyna is with Fusion One Marketing, and Glyna, why don't you share with us what it is that you do?
Sure. Most of what we do is help businesses with internet marketing. We build websites. We can help them get set up on social media and make sure that they're managing that correctly. And we also help them be found on search engines like Google when people are searching for them.
Well, I know that we've worked together for years, and you can make anybody look good. So, for joining today. Also, I want to introduce to you Cord Sachs. Cord, welcome to the call.
Thank you, Genny. It's great to be on.
Cord is with Fire Seeds, and if you would, please share with everyone what it is that you do and how you can help them.
Yeah, Genny, I'd love to. We are passionate about helping companies enhance their culture. And we do that in two ways. We do that through recruiting. We recruit mid-level to upper-level, executive-level leaders that we like to tagline as multiplying leaders. And then we also help companies enhance their culture through leader development. And so we help them build leader development strategy, primarily through a platform, an online platform called WildSpark. And so recruiting leaders and helping develop leaders is what we get to do and how we serve our clients.
Okay, that is huge for any small business. And I know as a small business owner, so many people are out there, feeling alone, and that, what you offer makes a huge difference, I'm sure. So I can't wait to hear some of the tips that you're going to share with us today.
Excited.
Okay, now I definitely want to welcome Josh Andrews.
Hi.
Hello, Josh. Thanks for being with us today.
Well, thanks for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
Josh helps us protect all of our hard work, something that whenever we're small business owners, we get busy in building that dream and executing that vision, and we completely forget to protect it. So share a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Well, I'm a business lawyer, and I work with small businesses and entrepreneurs to help them protect their business for growth and not hinder their business from it, like so many other lawyers. I provide flat-fee, predictably priced legal services to help you take your business from foundation to exit with a trusted advisor who helps you protect along the way.
Now that sounds great. Don't you love how he packaged that so well? It was perfect. So thank you for being here today, Josh.
Thank you.
All right, so next is my CFO, Anthony, who kicks me in the behind and looks out and protects my financial health, who comes by and works really hard and has to put up with me yelling at him all the time. Welcome, my CPA, Anthony Bandura.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate your invite to be here, and obviously it's always a pleasure to take care of your stuff. And you yell at me a lot less than you used to because now we have everything in order, so it's much easier now.
That's true. That's true. But he does take a lot of abuse. So if you need someone that has thick skin, Anthony definitely can help you out with that. Share a little bit with us about what makes you different.
Sure. I'm a CPA who's focused on very small businesses, nonprofits, and individuals. Most of what I do, 75% of it, is take care of those small businesses and nonprofits on a monthly basis so they know how they're doing throughout the entire year. They're very busy focusing on growing their business and earning money instead of just keeping track of all the nitty-gritty in and out. So I spend that time on a monthly basis taking care of their finances so they know how they're doing.
Well, and It's definitely needed. Every small business needs a good accountant, and that is probably the last place. We're more likely to talk to Josh about legal services than we are to talk to an accountant to keep our financial health thriving. So you're definitely needed, and you're probably normally the last person we want to end up talking to, unfortunately, because you're so important.
Well, I try to have a good relationship with my clients so they enjoy talking to me, not just in a about taxes and bookkeeping, but to be friends with them, to let them to be a trusted advisor.
Right, and I know you've got some good tips that you're going to share with us today. So thank you, of course, for being on the call. And we can't forget our good friend, Matt Johnson, who leads our Google Hangouts and just takes extremely good care of us every month. Matt, of course, welcome to the call.
Thanks so much. I appreciate it. And just a quick aside, if you're watching the replay on this, especially whether you're on Google Plus or whether you're on YouTube, make sure to subscribe to the Get a Real Estate Life YouTube channel so you're notified when future events like this come out, as well as some of the other educational videos that Genny does. Make sure that you get that content. So.
Thanks, Matt. All right, let's get serious and dig down deep into our business and get your pens ready and your notepads, because I want you to take some good notes. I know what it's like to be a small business owner. This is my 19th year in business and over 6 years as a business coach. And you may be wondering why a real estate coach would be putting together something like a business summit. And I'll tell you why is because yes, I coach real estate agents and I coach loan officers in their business, but it is a business. And oftentimes when we have small businesses in sales, we only focus on the sales and not everything else to keep our business healthy and thriving. So this is important to me. And Glyna and I, we actually work together with a lot of the same clients. And what tips you're going to learn today is good for any business. And my role today is helping you figure out what makes you special, because I think if there's anything that Get a Real Estate Life does better than anything else, it's getting to know our client and figuring out what makes you stand out already, that you already have, not something that you have to go and figure out and find or pay a lot of money to put in place. Something you already have that makes you special and stand out. And then what we do is we build a message around that to your ideal clients. And I've watched hundreds and hundreds of people transform their entire businesses and their whole lives based on this very simple concept. So for you to get started in figuring out, what it is that makes you special, because when you start working in your small business, a lot of times you forget. Then you can start being, focused on your competition instead of focused on what you really do well. Or you could be in your little hole and you forget, what you started your whole business for in the first place. So while you're taking notes, if you'll jot down the first thing that you need to ask yourself, and that is, why did I begin this business in the first place? What was it that made me feel so confident to step out on my own and know that I could do this? Because that is going to lead you back to the whole purpose of why you have a business in the first place. And then I want you to ask yourself this next question. You'll have to go back and fill in everything after you finish this online interview. But the next question I want you to ask yourself is, what are the top 3 skills or talents that I have, that I do better than anybody, that that's inside of me, and maybe it's something that you've done at every other job that you've ever had. And Cord, I'm sure you'll probably be able to relate to this when we get into your tips and your segments. But ask yourself, what have I just stepped up to the plate and done, no matter if that was my role or task in any other position that I've had. And, it could be a volunteer position as well. It doesn't have to be something that was paid. something that really, keeps you passionate every single day. So when you clarify that, you're starting to formulate this pattern. The next step from there is going to be, what is the one thing that your company does better than anything else? What's that one thing that you get good feedback on, that you enjoy, that your clients just can't get enough of, that if your company did just that one thing, that you would be completely satisfied, and so would your clients. That's going to help you to start formulating what it is that already makes you stand out. And to give you a couple of examples, one of the things that I think Glyna does really well is she listens to what people really want to do, like the outcome. A lot of times people will sit down with you, Glyna, and they'll start saying, well, I want you to create this and create that, and you go back and you ask better questions, and you say, but what do you want it to do in the end, and how do you want it to be in the end, and how do you make that? I feel like that's one of the things that you do really, really well, because most clients, when they come to you to build a website or social media, they don't know what they want.
Excuse me, not usually, no.
Or they have an idea of what they think they need because it's what everybody else has. And you ask really good questions so that you can get something that works in the end, instead of, making it look like everybody else. And it could be as simple as that, is that you really listen to your client. And for us, it is we really get to know you on a personal level, so that we see things in you that maybe you don't see yourself, or that you may not even realize that you're doing and winning already. I have clients that are so driven that you definitely want them to sell your house, because they're going to completely focus in on it like a mad person, but they might not ever answer their phone. That part of it is, that's not what makes them special. It's the importance of getting the task done. So it's really breaking that down and figuring out, what it is that you do better than anybody else. Then I want you to, think about all the feedback that you've gotten from past clients and clients that are happy. What are the patterns that you hear over and over? What are the patterns? When people get super excited and they're going to start saying the same kind of testimonials, the same kind of compliments. All right, that puts you on the path to your highest place. And then lastly, it's going to be, who do you want to work with? Glyna and I have had this conversation, and Anthony too. It's, who is that ideal client that gets you excited to jump out of bed? I've been getting up at 5 a.m. every day to go run, and then I'm just so excited to get to work. It's because I work with people that I would work 12 hours a day for, that I absolutely adore. And Glyna, you brought this up last time when we were talking about figuring out who your ideal client is. Start with who your ideal client is not.
Exactly. That's a great place to start.
Who drives you crazy? Who is never appreciative? And put faces with those people and say, no, this is not who I want my blood, sweat, and tears being poured out for. Build that person and say, these are the people that are passionate about what I do and appreciate what I bring to the table, and that I've actually been able to help and transform their lives in some way. From there, and all of this is a process. I'm just giving you quick tips really quickly, and of course you got the free download on the 9 ways that you can really evaluate and develop your unique edge. But we want those words and that message to speak exactly to your ideal client. You don't want your words and your message and your offers and your business talking to people who won't pay for it, or people who won't appreciate you, or people that don't add to, like what Cord said earlier, to the culture of what you're trying to accomplish. they will only bring you down. And you want your message to be so focused on the people you want to hear it. So you're going to be using language that they already use, that you hear them use every day. And, you know, if I've got actually a free call coming up, an hour-long seminar just about this. It's on October 29th. If you'll email me at Genny, GNNY@GetARealEstateLife.com, it's your unique edge free hour of developing who this is. Then we'll go deeper into the process on your ideal client. And it's absolutely free. Just send me an email real quick and put your unique edge in the subject line, and I'll make sure you get the invite to that call. So I've kind of given you my piece of the puzzle today and where you needed to get started on, you know, how to stand out. And there's more to it, and, you know, how to really attract that ideal client. So Glyna, you know, you were the person that helps take that message and get it out to the world and get it to where that target audience is. So, you know, what do you feel is the most important place to start?
Well, Genny, I would say, first of all, realizing that the mindset has changed completely for people doing marketing these days. Used to, if you were in the yellow pages, you had your listing, you're all happy and ready to go, and that's really all you had to do. I think people need to change their mindset and realize that you have to look at the internet now. I mean, we're there. If your business is not on the internet, then you're not going to be able to compete with everyone else for the business that you deserve. So I would say the most important thing for businesses right now, if you do nothing else, is to make sure that your business has a Google listing, so that when people are at least searching for the name of your business, that they can find you. It's a free thing. It's something that everyone can do, and I just think it's crucial if you're going to be in business today.
So how do you set up your Google listing?
Well, you have to have a Gmail account, which everyone does. You can Google or go to google.com, and it will really talk you all the way through it. It'll tell you to set up a listing, and what you really want to make sure that you do is fill it out completely. Make sure that you put all the information that they're asking for. They give more weight in their algorithm and such if you have everything filled out. If you can put pictures and videos and everything you can tell them about your business is definitely what you want to do in that listing. So it's very easy to do, and it walks you step by step through the process, and you can always call me too. I'll be glad to help.
Okay, so that is an excellent tip right there. You know, there used to be a thing called Google Places. Does that still exist?
It's morphed into Google Plus listing now is what it's called. It used to be Google Plus Local. Google Maps is all in there. It's all morphed into your Google Plus listing, yes.
Okay, so you're right. That, in fact, I were discussing the other day that to have a Google Plus account is what gets you so much more SEO, just organically.
Absolutely. It's definitely the place to start, and like I said, you don't want someone getting frustrated searching for you and they can't find you.
Right. So what's the next step? What's the next tip that a small business owner really needs to put in place?
Well, I would say that we definitely need to make sure that everything you're doing is geared towards the mobile users. Right now, everybody's using their phone, they're using their iPads, tablets. So you want to make sure that their experience about your business online is geared towards the mobile experience, and that they can find your information easily, and it's something that's very easy to navigate.
That's true. We sent out an email for one of our clients the other day, and we didn't test it mobily. And it was a football schedule, you know, through to his database. And Matt, you know, helps me with this on my database a lot of times too. And it was so hard to go back through and scroll through that it was probably, you know, aggravating for some people. So that is a huge tip. That really seems like it's no big deal, but it's a big deal because more and more, and Matt, you may know this better, do you know what the open rate is mobily on phones as compared to like laptops or iPads?
I believe it's in recent years it's flipped to where it's somewhere between 50 to 60% of people are opening their emails on a mobile device. we don't know whether that's phone or tablet, so it could still be someone sitting at home on the couch. They're not necessarily on the go, but yeah, it's definitely tipped over 50% just in the last, I think, year and a half.
Okay, I knew you would know. You're right, Glyna. That's big. So
yeah, it's huge, and he makes a good point. Mobile doesn't necessarily mean you're in your car or you're someplace different besides your own home. Everybody has their phone right beside them, even when they're sleeping. So mobile really means the device that you're looking at things on.
Now, my husband does that. He has his phone right next to him, and he will be, and I do that with my laptop, and he'll be on his iPad, scrolling through Craigslist, seeing what he could buy. So
It's a guy thing.
I think it is. Because he buys and sells stuff on Craigslist constantly.
That's right. Now, Glyna, just real quickly, can you tell us, who's your ideal client? How did you kind of arrive at figuring out who you like to work with?
That's so broad, and I know Genny will get on me for this, for not having my perfect ideal client, but she and I talk about this all the time. Really, I'm passionate about helping small to medium-sized businesses. Anyone that needs to be on the internet, which right now is every business that I can possibly think of, is a perfect client for me. I think that we can help them on some level. Again, my passion is to educate people and educate small to medium-sized business owners, and as long as I can do that and help them out in some way, I feel that that's the perfect client for me.
Well, of course, you want to make sure that they have the money to pay you.
Well, yes, that's important.
That they appreciate.
So successful small to medium businesses.
Yes. And
well, yeah, I will say we're definitely getting more picky. The busier that I get, you only have so many hours in the day. So optimally, you want to work with the people who appreciate what you're doing, they get it, they understand they have to be on the internet. So if they understand the concept, that's half the battle for me.
Well, and I would say I would probably be one of your ideal clients because I've been such a repeat client for you. Like you've built so many websites for me, not just one, not just the current one that I have, you've done lots of projects. So I've come back and said, I think I want to do this. I think I want to do that. I think I want to do this. So, that will help narrow down people that come back and, become foot soldiers for your business too.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, that's important. So speaking about websites, what do you feel are the latest trends? What are we seeing that as the latest technology that a small business owner probably needs to grab hold of on a website?
I'd hate to repeat myself, but I would still start out number one. You have to make sure it's mobile or what they call responsive. Make sure that it looks good on a phone. Make sure it looks good on an iPad or a tablet, as well as a desktop or laptop. You need to make sure that the user's experience is very good and that it's easy to navigate. That's another thing. Oh my gosh, I see websites that are nightmares that it's like, okay, there's so much stuff on this website, I can't even find a phone number. So make sure it's nice, neat, clean. Everything is going full screen now, so you have a lot of room to are presenting your ideas well. And then I would also say fresh content. You want to keep churning that content and those pictures and the information that's on your website so that people keep coming back. You want to give them a reason to keep visiting.
Right. I love the fresh content. That's what you've done with me as far as blogging, and I'm not as great at getting you that content in a timely manner because we have so many other things going on, but you're right, I love that too, just be able to go back and find really good information all the time.
That's exactly right. Being a resource, I think you and I have talked about this many times. If you're a resource to your customers and potential customers, they're going to come back.
Right, they will. So speaking of that, what about social media? What do you recommend there? Because I know you've helped a lot of my clients get set up on, Facebook and other forms of social media.
Well, social media is fickle. It's very fickle. There's new things coming out every single day, and all of us think it's kind of like a bright, shiny object. We're like, oh, look at that, look at that, look at that. My message to people about social media is know your demographic, know who you're wanting to attract, and make sure that you know where they're spending their time, and that will tell you what platform you need to be working on. There's no sense spending time on Pinterest if your ideal client is not on Pinterest. So I would say that my number one thing for people when working on social media is let's narrow down what will be the most effective for your business and the people that you want to reach.
You're right. I know that my ideal clients are on Facebook. That's where they hang out, social media wise, if they even mess with it. And so that's where I have to be.
Exactly.
So you're right. Any other tips that you feel like a small business owner really needs?
I will say that as far as if we're talking about social media, I would say right now one of the most inexpensive ways to get your message out and really target the audiences that you're wanting to reach is to use ads on all the different social media sites, Facebook ads, Twitter, LinkedIn. It's very inexpensive. It's something that you can do yourself if you just read a little bit, or I'd be glad to help you and give you tips. But I would say that that's one of the most effective and inexpensive things that you could do for your business right now.
Love it. Thank you so much. So can you please share, how someone can reach you and get in contact with you, move forward with you?
Sure. The best place to find all my information is at fusiononemarketing.com.
Okay, excellent. Thank you for all that you do to help me. As far as other members of the panel, do you have any questions for Glyna?
I'm sure we'll have some as we go on.
So, all right, as we are moving right along and we've gotten our message developed, we've gotten our message out online and social media, we're hitting that target audience, we're going to start needing and wanting to pick up some team members, and we're going to need some help. So, Cord, that's where you come in, and let me just share with you that I'm just now getting a chance to meet Cord today, but he has a fantastic reputation. Every person that I know that talks highly of him, I completely admire and am happy to know. So I know that, Cord, you're the same kind of guy. You have to be. So, share with us like what you do and how you help people, like what you were saying earlier, create that culture or, recruit and hire.
Yeah, thank you, first of all, for that warm introduction. I'd like to meet some of those people as well. But yes, no, I hope that's the reputation I have. But yeah, we are passionate, like I said earlier, about helping companies enhance their culture, and really grow. And healthy things grow. It's just the natural consequence of being healthy. You grow, and so we would say that in order to truly grow, you got to have a healthy core, a healthy culture. And so we're just really passionate about coming alongside companies that value their culture, and we would help them really define how do we continue to grow a healthy culture. And so the two main components we would say of a healthy culture is the who first. You got to have the right people. And most small businesses, they've started out with a great core, and that's why they're successful. That's why they're growing. But as they grow, I don't know that they realize the importance of making sure they continue to bring in leaders that match what has been their secret sauce, what has been the core of who they are, which is their culture, which is it's something that needs to be defined very clearly. But when we can define that, then we can go and hire and match new candidates, match new leaders to that culture, to that secret sauce. And so we're passionate about coming alongside these companies that value culture and need to grow and helping them find the right leaders. But then we would say it's not enough just to find the right leaders as you're growing. You want to retain those leaders, and you want to continue to maximize those leaders. And so to maximize leaders, you have to grow your leaders. You have to develop your leaders. Another one of the things that's going to attract great leaders is a reputation of growing your leaders. And so another way we want to help our clients and help those grow their culture is to have a very strategic and intentional leader development strategy where they're thinking very holistically about the growth of their people. And so we have a leader development strategy called WildSpark that allows us to deliver leadership and personal leader development to every seat in the organization. So that's just a little snapshot of what you can see I get pretty passionate about.
Yes,
but it's an eye on culture. At the end of the day, healthy things grow. We want to see our companies grow and maintain that culture so they can scale that growth into the future.
So if I know that some small businesses will have this question, or business owners will have this question. If I am, developing my vision, and I have put my heart and soul into my business, and I'm about to make my first hire, and you ask me what my culture is, I'm going to say, I don't know. What is it? Like, do you sit down and kind of help me formulate that culture and what a culture is? Because if I'm doing it all by myself, I haven't probably even thought of those words yet.
Right, absolutely. That's the very first thing we do. I know, just like you, Glyna, we want to get to know our clients very well. We want to understand their story. We want to understand how they've grown to where they are at this place in time, and the need, therefore they need hires or need new leaders, and then really help them define that culture. Define what is the vision, what are the values that you would say are irreplaceable, they're non-negotiables for our leaders. We're going to look at our current leaders. We're going to define what is marking our high potential individuals that are already in our company that have made us who we are. And so we call that creating a bullseye. So we have a bullseye meeting with all of our clients, and we help them define this culture. And a lot of times when we go through this exercise with them, they're putting it into words. It's becoming more concrete. It's crystallizing for them even as we go through this. And so that allows them to now communicate that internally much clearer. But then it gives us a very clear target to go after. Because I'll say this over and over again, we want to hire to values. We want to hire to culture. Of course, we want to get competencies, skill sets, experience that needs to be there. We want to find all that. But that's pretty easy to find. We can go see that pretty quickly. But making sure the culture matches there is what we think is the crucial component that makes it different.
And I think you pretty much clarified that, is the values. And once people can kind of formulate that, then it will attract the right people to add into that. Something that we face here with our team, I have been blessed with so many wonderful people that I've gotten to work alongside of, working in my vision and the vision that I have for this company. But we help our clients' dreams come true. We do everything we can to make that happen. So then I realize that, it makes our team members go, well, I'm spending all our time making the client's dream comes true. Now I need, what about me? I need to make my dreams come true too. So I've had to change my focus to say, you're right. Let's make your dreams come true too.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, it's because it is, it's what we do, so everybody needs to be able to participate, and you'll get more excited when you're focused on somebody else's dreams when you're making yours happen too. So.
And that is Lencioni calls that a vulnerability-based trust culture, where the employees really do believe, they really do trust that their leaders, they desire for their home run to be hit outside of the walls of the company, that their dreams are really coming true. And I know us employers, we want to believe that we can make all those dreams come true inside the walls of our company, where really the dreams have to become, the dreams that need to be coming true are the individual growing as a better father, a better husband, a better wife, a better leader, that they're able to now put their own family and heritage on a different trajectory because of the way us as employers think about intentionally caring for them within our cultures. And so I love the way you've kind of put making their dreams come true. I might steal that from you. But I think that's a core part of building this culture of trust within a company.
Yeah, and I've totally seen that as we've gone throughout the years. Matt, were you going to say something?
Yeah, I was just going to ask Court. Obviously you're helping companies recruit directly, so that gives you this huge pool of repetition and experience because you've got some of the like medium-sized businesses that are going out and hiring like mid-level executives. So you're sifting through a lot of people, and you're helping companies sift through a lot of people. That's right. What are some of the stakes that you're seeing? Like, for example, the average person in an interview where they're trying to get a sense of whether that other person is going to be a culture fit. what are some of the mistakes that they're making in interviews that can be misleading, or you can kind of try to read into and just hope that person fits your culture without even really knowing?
Yeah, I think one of the things I see all the time is, especially in the small to mid-sized companies, is they try to create this ultra-professional environment within the interviews experience that's just not who they are. And so it comes off very inauthentic, and I think in a sense, it drives some of these top leaders away. And so I would say you create a very natural, just a very easy, organic experience that's natural and has integrity with who you really are, instead of trying to be something you're not. Even as an employer, trying to create this sometimes especially as small business owners, we're bigger than we are, we're more professional than maybe we really are on day to day. And not that we're not professional, but most people, they want a job and they want to be in an environment where they can have fun and they can enjoy the people around them. So I'd say that's one thing that small businesses do a lot of times, is they don't portray who they really are and the culture they really have. I'd say they don't really get to know the story of the individual. That's such a big part of our vetting process. We would say relational over transactional. At the end of the day, we're going to spend a lot more time getting to know the story and what we call the X factor of an individual, all the different components of who they are outside of the resume. A resume, so many people, they weight the resume much more than they should. And so someone that can really write a good resume can get a job above someone that might write an average resume, but there was just way too much weight put on the resume. The resume is important, but I'd say hearing the story behind the resume and creating an environment that allows the individual and the candidate to feel comfortable, so you really can hear the story. And as you're getting to know their story, you're also showing interest in who they are, and you're drawing them towards your culture in the process as well. And they're more excited about working for you because you're truly, genuinely getting to know them. And then I'd say the third thing is just wiring. When I say wiring, I mean really getting to know, using an instrument, a personality instrument, to understand if their wiring fits the job. There are tons of great folks out there that get really excited about a position only to learn that, gosh, this is a position where I'm in a cubicle dealing with details, and I'm really an outgoing person that needs to be in a visionary position.
Right.
And so
I think Genny just about jumped out the nearest plate glass window.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yes, I've been facing that this week.
Yeah, and we've all, I mean, it sounds like a lot of us are small, either solopreneurs or have small teams around us. I mean, we've all experienced that sensation of either hiring somebody or about to hire somebody, and then you realize, like, you have them take a DISC assessment or something, or they say something or imply something, and you're like, oh, this job is not for you.
Yeah.
You know.
A lot of times that's after the fact, unfortunately. We've already hired the individual, and now we're finding that out.
Yeah. Has anybody else had a bad hiring experience, guys?
Yeah. Most definitely, and you waste a lot of time training people that you think are perfect for the job, and only to find out, oh my gosh, nope, this isn't going to work.
Yeah. It's true.
Well, but I think, too, one of the things that I do is I try to hire for that person and not necessarily for the skill set so much, because of what Cord was saying as far as culture. So then I'll have to weigh the importance on my DISC profile. I'll say, okay, I really want high energy, so this is the type of person that I want, and I want our clients to feel like they're the most important people in the world. If you hire a very detailed person, your clients are going to feel like they're not loved. So I try to hire for the person, and a lot of times we still need those details.
Absolutely.
So you need like a person behind the person.
Yeah. Yes. But I totally understand what Cord is saying. Cord, what do you say for the small business owner that what do you offer as far as salary, benefits, pay? When a lot of times, I mean, I have a team of how many people do we have now? 5, 6, 7, and I can't offer benefits. you know, haven't been able to find a way to offer that. So what's your recommendation for, you know, hiring talented people and attracting them when, you know, maybe a small business owner can't offer certain things?
Yeah, I think it's first important to understand who you're hiring and even what generation do they come from, because there's going to be different values based on, is this an Xer, a Generation Xer, is this a Boomer, or is this a Millennial? And we'll start with the Millennials because I know everybody's trying to figure out, how do we hire the Millennials now? How do we draw them in, especially as small business owners? And I'd say those of us that are targeting Millennials, there's some real positive news to that question, because they're almost expecting not to have benefits, and that's a good thing and a bad thing, I guess, these days. But they are expecting something else that the Xers and the Boomers aren't necessarily expecting, and they are much more in tune with needing to be a part of something that has significant purpose, that has a cause to it, and not that it has to be a philanthropic, service that the company does. I don't mean that. I mean, again, within the culture of your company, and this is good news for small businesses too, because we're small. We really can take advantage of building some really unique parts of our culture that will attract those leaders and add value where you may not be able to show in benefits. And so some of those things, and I'd say the millennial myth is you got to have ping pong tables and and lime green paint on the walls, and that's what's going to draw them in. We
have a karaoke set up.
Yeah, and that's good for the first couple months. That's kind of cool. But and we all want this. We all want to be in an environment where we feel like we're being developed, and there's value being added to us as a leader. And so I think opportunities that you can substitute for the benefits as you're creating a reputation for why would someone want to come work for you is, wow, that's a company where you're going to be developed. I mean, there are great companies out there. I can think of, obviously the one that comes to mind to everybody is Chick-fil-A, but you've got graduates now that are rushing to the doors to work in a fast food restaurant, not because they love frying chicken, but because they want to be a part of the reputation that Chick-fil-A has developed. We develop our people. We develop leaders. Enterprise Rental Car, they develop leaders. There's a lot of companies, they have built that reputation, and because they do invest in very intentionally having a very clear track that they can promote. They can show to others that if you come and work for us, you might not get benefits, but you're going to be developed as a leader, which is going to have great value in the long run as you come and be a part of our team or our family.
I think that's a huge benefit. I mean, thank you for sharing that, because I know that everybody on this panel, I'm sure, has asked that question, like, how do you find really good people? And I've been lucky enough to find just people I never want to leave, but I have to develop them as a leader to be able to go after what they really want in life as well. And so that's the only promise that I can make people, that I will put time into you and support and develop. Elena's sitting with me right here, and she's been here for a few weeks, and that was the promise I made to her is, she's graduated college, is that she is going to learn a ton and be very, very valuable. Yeah. Now, I may be training her for her next job position, but, if you come work in my world, then that's what you're going to get out of it.
Yeah.
So she's already learned a ton in a short amount of time. Yeah. So, we're going to go past 60 minutes today because we are talking with an expert of a panel of experts for small businesses, and I want you to get a lot of meat out of today and be able to watch this over and over again on YouTube. So, Court, I thank you, and Josh, help me protect it. I never think about legal issues. What? Where do I even start in protecting my work?
Oh, well, at the beginning. That's it's not what you want to hear, but early on, because legal can only protect you when the foundation's in place. It can't protect you backwards. And so the earlier you
That's
protect
where we get in
yourself,
trouble, right?
the earlier you protect yourself, the better. Just in some of the things that we've been talking about today, legal can help you make sure that your ideal client is the person that you're working with. Legal can help you make sure that your vision, your mission, and your values become a part of the core of your business because you built it into your founding documents of your company. Legal can help you deal with disputes with clients because you have a particular way you want to handle it and it's part of the culture that you are. Legal can help you make sure that that culture you say exists is the culture that actually exists. Legal exists to help you protect your business so you can be bold in the actions that you take in your business. The foundation of legal in the business world is contracts. Everything that we have is contracts. And, in the small business world, I find that people view contracts as a bad thing. They say, we don't have contracts, or, we don't deal with things like that because they think it makes you, move toward the transactional instead of the relational, which is the opposite of what Cord was saying. But the truth is that contracts are designed to protect your relationships. Contracts are designed to lay out what you actually agree to when you're on the same page, so that when there's a dispute, when there's a question, then you're able to look back at something. It's not about creating a bad environment, or and I think Cord actually said something really interesting about how people try to create this environment in interviews where they seem more professional than they are. And I actually see the same thing in contracts with businesses who want to have these legal size sheets of paper with teeny tiny font, and they want to look like all of the other big businesses, so they're more important than they are. But the reality is legal can be part of where you stand out. Legal can be just as much a part of your sales process or your marketing process, because you show an authenticity in how you lay out the terms and the agreements that you have with your clients, your customers, your employees, your partners, because it's authentic, it's real, it's this is what we're going to do for you and how we're going to take care of you. And so legal kind of weaves through every part of your business. I created the Legal to English website, and I blog and I podcast for the sake of making sure that small business owners understand the legal that impacts their business every day. Because ultimately, you as a business owner, that's just a part of what you have to deal with every day, because you're making decisions that are impacted by legal every day, and you have to understand it.
Yeah. And you made an excellent point about legal being part of the customer experience. That's something really key. I think a lot of people take that for granted, and especially probably, Corey, I would imagine you see that in the medium-sized businesses you work with too. It's almost taken for granted that that's a horrible part of the process, and it has to be that way. And that's Josh's perspective on it is completely different.
Well, I think that too often, and that's what I was saying about how business owners and everybody seems to think it's a bad thing. Whereas you get down to that part where you're signing the employment documents or you're signing the client agreement, and it's like, well, we have to do this, so just go ahead and sign it, and you kind of skip through it, as opposed to making it part of your onboarding process for your employees, or a part of your sales process, so that during the course of your sales process you're talking about that contract, which on top of protecting you from a legal standpoint shows that you actually understand the process of your business, because it's built into it, because you thought about these legal things and what you're going to do and how you're going to deal with certain situations that may not come up, and it just shows that you're more prepared than otherwise. But I always train my clients in recognizing that legal isn't a bad thing. Legal exists whether you put the contract in writing or you just talk about it. You have a contract with your clients.
Right.
But putting it in writing is what takes care of you and what protects you. And if you make that a part of your process, because people expect legal. We live in a world where legal exists. No one has ever said, I do not accept the iTunes terms of service. No one has ever refused to sign the AT&T contract to get the new iPhone 6s Plus, on the day it comes out. People don't refuse that. And the problem is that small businesses think that it takes away from the relational, when it doesn't. It just creates a stronger relationship because you thought about it and you're fair. And that's where you can separate yourself from a legal standpoint.
Well, and it's the expectation part. The expectations are what builds a relationship. So when you put it in writing, saying this is what you can expect from me, and this is really what I'm going to expect from you as we move forward. And that way you can always have something to refer back to. This is actually what I promised and I delivered. And, either you're not paying or you're not, holding up your end of the bargain.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Oh, well, I was going to say absolutely, is that it does lay out the expectations, but taking it one step further, if you have a good legal contract that is designed to protect your business, and lay out what that relationship is, the opportunities that you get to treat your ideal clients in a way better than you are required to treat them presents itself. And so when, like earlier, we were talking about finding your ideal client and working with them, a strong client agreement lets you have that client that, is taking up all of your time and going, just taking things far beyond where they're supposed to be, and allows you to bring them back in because of what the contract says. But the opposite of that is also true. When you have an excellent client, a client that you would wake up and work for free for, who's doing everything that they can, and they miss that one payment, or they, that one thing is outside of the scope of the contract, then you're able to say, you know what, for you, I'll do that for you. I'll waive that fee. I'll do that extra thing and not charge you any extra money. And because contracts lay out what you can do, they lay out your rights, not what you must do. And so it gives you this other opportunity on the back end from a customer service standpoint of showing how you build those relationships with your customers and how you take care of them, while not giving up any of your rights to protect if you ever have to.
Well,
I'd say, Josh, just to add to that point, Josh has done all of our legal, has reworked all of our legal documents, and we've been able to do just that. This last quarter, we had one of our best clients, had a little cash flow issue, and so we were able to put them on terms because our fee structure was so clear in our contract. So absolutely, there's just an example I just experienced from Josh. Josh does all of our work, and so I thought I'd throw that in.
Well, thank you.
That's an excellent testimonial. And one of the things too that you just mentioned was, trying to sound a lot more professional maybe than you really are. The fun contracts that I see are the fun language. Just calling it out what you would normally say. And for instance, hey, and if you don't pay, we're going to sue you. We hate to sue our clients. We'd rather love you up. Or, we're going to knock on your door in the middle of the night until you write me a check, or, making it fun that way, because people, one of the things that when I was selling real estate, I put in my contract that said, we don't discriminate for any reason except meanness or hatefulness. And if for some reason you become mean, unreasonable, and hateful, then I have the right to fire you immediately because I'm going to commit long hours to work for you, and I'm going to sacrifice time away from my family on holidays and weekends so that I can provide a service for you. So if you don't appreciate it, then I will gladly back out. And people would laugh and giggle and say, I have to sign this right now because that is so funny. But it was very clear.
It is very, and it's such a wonderful opportunity to be you. And I think too often businesses forget that, just because you have a lawyer making sure it says everything it's supposed to, doesn't mean you can't work on making sure it says it the way you need it to, where it fits your message, where it fits what you speak, because legal is about you. It's about your business and what you are building and protecting. And your legal should speak your message just like everything else. Otherwise, it just looks like this other thing that you added on, and it doesn't go to building your business in the way that you're supposed to. Legal shouldn't be an afterthought. It should be woven into the business that you have. So, yeah, absolutely. It's saying things like that and making sure that you bring out who you are and what you think and even in the way that you present your contracts. I think that's such an important thing as a small business owner, to work with your lawyer and see, is it a, do you get to end of the sale and you want them to sign that agreement, or are they buying online and you have to figure out how to make sure that they accept the agreement? How are you talking to your clients? What do you call things? Let's use your language. Let's use their language, because I believe that contracts tell stories. I mean, it's nothing more than the story of the relationship that you have. And there's no rules about how we say it. For some reason, the legal community likes these words that don't mean anything. I'm here. I'm getting a lot of feedback. I'm sorry.
Josh, if you would please share with everyone how to get in touch with you.
Yeah, you can find me on my website, outsourcedassociate.com. I am working on making it easier to navigate after taking notes earlier on in our call, and making sure that you can find all the information. But you can click on education resources and learn a lot about the legal that impacts your business every day and how to make better decisions. And if you want to work with me, you can fill out the contact form on my website, and we can get a call scheduled to figure out how legal works in your business and how to better protect you for growth.
Woo, I would definitely take him up on that. So thanks so much for sharing your tips with us today. And you're all about education, so there's plenty more there on your website. Okay, I made you wait all this time for you to hear, the most important factor of why we're in small business, and that is profit. We all got into business so that we could eat, and that we could feed our children if we have them, and that we could actually make money from what it is that we love to do every day. And Anthony is my CPA, and he helps me with my financial health. I definitely appreciate you, Anthony, so welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Like I said earlier, it's great to be here. It's a lot of fun.
You've been so patient as, we've gotten to the health part, but I wanted to put you last because that's exactly where most small businesses are going to put their financial health, is last, because, I understand. Most small business owners, we like to get out there, make things happen, and a lot of times we're not even counting the money. So, tell me what typical scenarios you see with most small business owners.
Well, first, people like Josh and I should be one of the first people you guys talk to as a small business, because we both encounter so many instances of people getting into business and just creating a mess from the very beginning that has to be corrected along the way. And it's so much easier to correct things, like Josh said, in the very beginning, before you even open the doors, and ask those questions to know how to correct them, and then to move forward. So I have an instance right now where someone bought a new business, and there's a certain form when it's an asset purchase that both parties have to agree upon, and there's tax implications for both people. And there's an argument right now that we're working through where the old owners want their tax benefit and the new owners want their tax benefit, and no one can come to an agreement. And it's a good sum of money. And then we have an organization that's trying to start with 3 different owners. They have a fun, crazy revenue structure. And I'm a CPA that asked those questions. They went to another CPA that didn't ask those questions of, well, what happens if this, this, and this? Oh, I didn't think about that. And they haven't opened the doors yet, so we're able to discuss those kind of things while the partners still like each other, versus when they stop liking each other, when they start discussing this and there's real money on the table that needs to be discussed. So, I mean, that's definitely a problem. Another problem, what's that?
I said that's a huge problem. I'm laughing just because, I'm seeing this scenario so many times. And
Right.
We always go into situations, especially with partners, thinking, oh my God, we just love to work with each other. And
Exactly.
really not anticipating that it goes badly.
Yeah, the only real partnerships that I see that are more successful than not are when the people are actually married to each other. When it's just 2 people that just got to know each other a couple months down the road, or a couple months ago, a lot of times, they don't really know each other. They don't know how to work with each other. They don't know the problems that the other person brings to the table, or they bring to the table themselves. We all think we're great and wonderful until we start working with somebody else. So that's something that definitely needs to be addressed. Another thing that needs to be addressed is like the difference between cash flow and profit, like income statement. Just because someone has cash in the bank doesn't mean that they actually made any money, because they still probably got to pay taxes, or they just threw money at the company, and it's not really profit. It's money that they had to donate to the company to begin with. Not donate, but contribute to the money. So they need to know how their cash flow and their profit is going on a monthly basis, so they know how to make adjustments. I mean, like when I sit down with you, Genny, we sit down and we talk about, hey, you're spending this much money on advertising, this much money on events, this much money on employees. Why? But we're seeing these revenue numbers. Are we seeing revenue numbers that correspond? Or, I mean, you're good about it, but there are a lot of companies out there that drain their accounts every single month. Hey, I have $2 in the account. Well, congratulations. How are you going to pay taxes on that? Because you actually made $100,000 and you have $1,000 in the account, but you're going to owe $25,000 in taxes. How are we going to deal with that on April 15th? So those are the kind of things that need to be addressed early and often. Just like Josh is someone who's on retainer, and Glenn is on retainer for marketing and getting your websites done. I'm on retainer to make sure your finances are in good health, and so you can call and ask about the difference between mileage and auto expense. Should I buy a vehicle and depreciate it off? Should I buy this building? Should I do these kind of things? Should I hire somebody else? I want to be on retainer, and I want my clients to feel comfortable to call me and not be billed on 15-minute increments just because they have a question.
And it's not expensive at all. And exactly what he said, like one of my favorite thing that you do for me, Anthony, is that I get to see that monthly profit and loss statement where, I can go through and say, sometimes it makes me mad and I want to throw something at the wall, and sometimes I do. And
I don't believe it for a second.
Other times I'm like, yeah, that is awesome. But just like what he said, he will go through it and go, what are you doing? I mean, why are you paying that person this much? Are you getting the return here? Why are you spending that much in advertising? Like, what kind of feedback are you getting from this? I mean, what kind of clients have you picked up because of it? So he's that outside voice saying, hey, let's really take a look at this. That's why I always call him my CFO, because he is a part of my business, and it's really the most important part. But when most small business owners don't think that way, we just want to get out there and do the work. And he brings me back around to say, let's focus on really what's important here.
Yeah, I have a restaurant client where we analyzed the food sales versus food cost, alcohol versus alcohol sales versus alcohol cost, beer cost versus beer profit, and beer income. And I was like, your liquor expense jumped up. Why is that? Oh, we're just testing out some stuff. And the next month, your liquor expense is still really high. Why is that? And it was about 4 months down the road. They said, yeah, we had to fire the bartender because he was serving all of his friends for free at the bar. I was like, yeah, you're right.
Because somebody was paying attention.
Right.
Just saved them.
Analyzing things on a monthly basis like that compared to last year, compared to 3 years ago, compared to March, why are things changing? It's dorky, but it's so much fun for me to analyze those numbers and see those patterns of, why are we doing well and why are we not doing well? I mean, even in my own business, I need to do that. I need to figure out where my profit is coming from. Like I said, I know 75% of my revenue since I began is because of my monthly residual counting clients, that I take care of those people on a monthly basis. So we can analyze those things with these kind of systems in place.
Well, and if you're wondering like how to incorporate this or thinking it might be too expensive, it's not. It's worth every penny of it, especially to me because I don't have to think about it. He reconciles all of my checking accounts. He knows that he has access to everything because I know what type of person that I am. If he waits on me to hand him my bank statements every month, he's never going to get them. Because that is the last thing I probably want. I mean, I have mail sitting here that I haven't opened, and probably bank statements are in there. So he has access to all of my financials. He goes in and grabs those himself, and then he can give me the reports without me having to think about it or without effort on my part. As a small business owner, that's the last thing that I want to focus on. I want to be out here creating programs and value for my clients and not going over numbers that really, frankly, bore me to tears. So
it's also good because when January comes around and we close out your books for the year, we've been talking about how you're doing throughout the year.
Right.
And throughout the year, I can say, hey, Jenny, you're making tons of money. You need to save some money for taxes. Or, hey, Jenny, things haven't been going so well this year. Right. Why is that? You need to change things around so you are paying some taxes. Those kind of discussions can be had because it's always frustrating when a small business walks in here in late March, just a week or two before tax time, and says, here's my stuff. How did I do last year? What do you mean I owe $30,000 in taxes? Well, we could have discovered that a while back and had those discussions. And they're like, what can I do to stop this now? There's nothing we can do. It's way too late. Like Josh says, once the year's over, you can't go back, and most deductions, most things can't be done. I mean, I guess if you have retirement plans and stuff, you might be able to contribute, but you can't go buy a vehicle on January 5th and deduct it for the prior year. It just doesn't work that way.
Well, and again, another one of my favorite things is because you reconcile and keep up with everything all year, you'll have to ask me a couple of questions, but I'm ready to file my taxes immediately. There aren't extra things that I have to gather to do that, and as a small business owner, the last thing we want to do ever is, pay taxes, and because it's always so high, and to even file them. So that has taken a tremendous weight off of me. What kind of tips can you provide to small business owners, in the financial world if they don't have you? What kind of tips can you provide?
Okay, sure. The main thing is find some way to keep track of how you're doing. I mean, hopefully you're billing out clients and you're paying bills. Well, you need some kind of system in place that makes it easy. I mean, QuickBooks Online is a great system now where it automatically downloads your transactions and you can bill out clients, and you can just go in there in a very timely manner and just produce your own financial statements. Or if you're in one of those banks where the bank statements disappear after a couple months, make sure you're downloading that information so it's easier to get. I mean, at least throw everything into one envelope per year. So that way, when it does come time to look at your pile of stuff, it's in one easy place to sort through. When I have clients who, we download the bank information, they come in here, they say, I have no clue how to find my bank information. I'm like, okay, well, let's log into your bank right here, download your stuff. You see this spreadsheet, go through and label every single transaction and let me know what it is. And that way it just makes it easier. But good planning is just key in this whole process. So you know how much taxes to be prepared for when it comes to tax time. And then there needs to be a discussion also of, and Josh and I discussed this a lot, when should a company switch to an S corporation? At what income level should that happen? Because if someone's making 80 grand in their company, they might be able to start paying themselves a salary and taking some of the leftover money as dividends, and that's just taxed differently. So those kind of discussions can be had early and often with your professional, your tax professional.
Okay, so you recommend a system like Quicken or?
No, not Quicken. No, never.
QuickBooks.
QuickBooks. Or
Yes, I know. I was
you
going to
know,
say, but why would you recommend that? Because you use QuickBooks.
right. No, Quicken it's great for personal. I mean, my wife, who's the accountant of our household, uses Quicken all the time to keep track of our personal stuff and budgeting for our personal finances, and that's fantastic, and it works great. Especially, she takes care of that, and that's great. But the QuickBooks is great, or even Mint. It downloads transactions very well. FreshBooks, I know you also use that on the side to help bill out clients, and that's a very good system too. But those are very limited systems also. Like QuickBooks is very thorough for basic small businesses, but like Mint and FreshBooks and stuff like that, they don't really have a full accounting system. They have good money in and out, but there's not reports that are full accounting reports.
It's basically more for like personal budgeting, right? Is that
yeah?
Yeah.
And it for a single owner, it might be okay, but especially if you have multiple partners and money coming in and out for both partners, like they're taking money out and putting money in, a system like that is not good. I highly recommend QuickBooks Online now, or just regular QuickBooks if someone wants to use that too. And QuickBooks Online is very easily shared. Like Glyna, she and Rob take care of their stuff on a monthly basis and throughout the year, I hope. And then I have access to their QuickBooks Online. They just click a button, and I can go in there at any time and look at it if they have a question. Hey, Anthony, there's this. How do I do this? I can just pull it up on my computer. I have multiple screens. That's why I'm pointing over here. But I can just pull it up and start working on it. So it's a good system to have. And then keeping track of your documentation. I have a lot of instances where people have been audited. Thankfully, not because of something I've done, but we need to find 3 years ago receipts. Well, where is it? How do we find that? And I implement a scanner and a paperless system for most of my clients who want it. If they want it, I'm happy to do it. And that way we can have everything out there that when the state of Alabama came and did a sales tax audit for my restaurant client, we were able to put it on a flash stick and give it to them and say, here's what you need to have, go away. And they said, no CPA has ever done this before. And everything came out clear because everything was right there. It's just easy for them to follow.
Well, one of the things that you taught me as far as a tip is take a picture of it so you keep it in your phone.
Yeah, at least something, right.
That way, you can gather them later. So that's a great tip for a small business owner that's crazy busy.
Exactly, right.
Definitely helps.
And also save that to Evernote. So I'll take pictures of receipts on my phone, but then instead of storing it necessarily on my phone, I'll send it directly to a folder in Evernote.
Oh, great idea.
That's good too.
So do you have any other tips for financial health, Anthony?
Try not to mix business with personal finances.
What?
I know. It's crazy. I highly recommend that you have a business checking account, and everything that flows through there is business. What's interesting is since I have 30-something monthly clients, and all of them are in different industries. If I have one as a retail client, they sell retail goods. If they go to Prada and buy a purse, they might be reselling it, so I can ask them. So it is a cost of goods sold item sold. But if Genny goes to Prada, then why are you going to Prada? That's not a business thing. She's very good about that. She doesn't do that. I'm just using her as an example because she's right in my face. So it's just figuring those things out and keeping the finances separate, because if an IRS or state audit comes in and looks at your books, it's so much easier if everything business is business that's in there. If they start seeing a lot of personal information in there, then they are going to dig deeper and start questioning more and more and more. Another thing
it
is
makes it more difficult to sell in the future as well. So
exactly right.
whenever
Yeah.
if you ever come to the point where you want to sell your small business, then that's going to really be looked at. How you used your accounts.
Exactly. And if your stuff is current and you need cash flow, you need to go to the bank and beg for money for a line of credit, or you want to buy a building. My clients who I take care of on a monthly basis, I just push a button and they have financials that the bank looks at. And it just makes it nice and easy in that way.
Yes, when I was considering buying a building, you did that for me, and it's just so easy. So easy. I can't recommend this enough to take this off of your plate. And I did not have to hire a bookkeeper or somebody on staff to do this. He takes care of all of this for me. So it'll be a huge relief to you, too, if you don't have a situation like this. Anthony, please tell everybody how you can move forward, how somebody can move forward with you.
Sure. It's very easy to just Google Anthony Bandura and find me on the front page results. Luckily, there aren't too many Anthony Banduras out there, so it makes it very easy. But banduracpa.com just goes directly to my website, and there's a tab there for finding me, and also a great tab for resources like the one we're giving away for the today for my freebie. And resources on just 2-page documents that describe different scenarios and gives good, useful tax and business information.
Well, good. And he also wrote a budget as well that I have access to that I can help you with, whether you're in the real estate business or in any other business. He helped me and was a part of a free gift in one of the books that I wrote. So thank you for that. And thank you, everybody, for being on this online interview today and providing such valuable information to small business owners. I thank you for your time that you invested and everything that you do, because I chose y'all for a reason, and because I knew that you would provide valuable meat to everyone. I wanted Cord had to step off, but I wanted everyone to know how you could reach Cord if you need help in really finding people that fit your culture and recruiting and hiring and retaining good people for your team. You can reach him at fireseeds.com, or you can email him Cord, C-O-R-D, at fireseeds.com, and you can get to know him better as well if you need some extra information about that. I want to remind you one last time that we are going to be having a free hour teleseminar on October 29th. That's called Your Unique Edge, and it's going to be really digging deep on finding what makes you special and that ideal client. All you have to do is email me, Genny, at Get a Real Estate Life, and put in the subject line Your Unique Edge, and I will send you the call information on that, and of course it's free. So I want to thank everyone again for joining us today, and I hope that you have an amazing day, and thank you for taking your time to watch this hangout. So Matt, thanks a lot.
All right. Thanks so much, guys.